Wait, Greg, you wouldn't fuck a goat? Man, you're frigid.
Hello, it's live from 45. We're on the 6th episode today, which is the last in this season.
Oh.
Sad times.
Oh.
No.
And today, we're going to be talking about university.
Oh.
So,
Yay!
I'm Chris. I'm with Ricky.
Hello.
Aw.
And James.
Hello.
So we all went to university in Manchester. Now, the reason I came here is, well, I initially put 5 choices down. And my 5th choice, I had a free space, so I just put Manchester down.
Oh, wow, okay.
Which is a bit crazy, I know. Some of my friends were going completely
You
by
are wild.
coincidence. I mean, London was my first choice, and I got in at Kingston, conditional offer then and there on the spot, and I loved it. I just thought, I'm going to go to Manchester, my interview, see what it's like.
Yeah.
Came here and I loved it. Every just walking around, the people friendly, it's cheaper, the university, the whole experience. So I chose Manchester over London.
Yeah,
What
I
about
can't
you?
imagine you being in London.
Yeah, it wasn't a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
I remember I had a huge A1 folder and
Yeah.
6'4" roll of paper on the London Underground.
So you're
for the first
lucky
time.
because you can get away with doing that. If I did that, someone would definitely call in suspicious item on the train.
This guy carrying paper. Suspiciously big.
So mine's got to pick 5 options. I put Manchester down, mostly because of the music scene, the history. Went to Cardiff and Leeds, got unconditional offers.
Ooh.
Fucking great.
You gave him a blow.
Just a little one, which is weird because they're all female interviews.
You gave him a little one, then you're like, if you want the rest, I'll see you in September.
And then I came to Manchester and they offered me a conditional on the spot. And I just prefer, I was like, seeing as they offered me a conditional over an unconditional, they were playing a bit hard to get. But I love the city as well, so that's the reason I came.
Yeah.
I came here because my brother came here, and he said it was a great university, but obviously it did the course I wanted to do and everything like that. But originally, I was going to do mechanical engineering, and I went to Leicester University for an open day there. Yeah, they showed us around. It seemed great. The course seemed great. But I went with my dad, and I think I only really wanted to do it because my dad wanted me to do it. Because mechanical engineering is something that you can understand, you know.
Yeah.
And also in the Indian community, be a mechanic. That's what you be, a doctor or a mechanic. My dad's dad, also known as a grandfather in the UK, we call them babbas. Yeah, all right. Teach you people, you bigots, something. And he said to my dad, he wanted my dad to be a TV engineer because what does everyone need? Their TV fixing. So, that job will never run out. Thankfully, my dad went into doing letting instead.
See, in Coventry, they tried to get you to become an absent father or a drug dealer. Those are the 2 options.
That worked out for your father.
Exactly.
Ooh! Low blow. Low blow.
Feeling those daddy issues.
But yes, I didn't even come for an open day at Manchester. I guess
Really?
I'd seen it before. Yeah, I'd seen it because I came to visit my brother and stuff.
So it's different for us because me and Chris, both study fine art. So we had to go for interviews. So you kind of had to see the uni, which I think is a benefit.
Yeah.
But obviously, you didn't do mechanical engineering.
No. God. Thankfully not. It would have been the worst life decision I've ever made to do mechanical engineering. I met a guy in first year, maybe a week into university, called Dave. I won't say his second name, but he'll know if he hears this. And I said to him, what do you do? And he goes, mechanical engineering. And I went, what's it like? And he goes, oh, it's shit. When you first meet someone, you'll act positively even if you're lying, just so they think you're a positive person. But I just remember him go, Oh.
What did you say?
I just laughed. I assumed he was being facetious, but I realised he was.
If you happen to look at the Uni of Manchester prospectus, you'll actually see that on the mechanical engineering. Dave says, it's shit.
Why should you study at Manchester? No, it's shit.
But he looks really happy in the photo.
Yeah.
So, do you want to explain as me and Chris did fine art, do you want to explain what you studied?
Oh, so I studied geology and planetary science, which means essentially geology and then applying geology to other planets. So I've always been really interested in astronomy. When I was a
nerd,
when I was 16, they were doing GCSEs for astronomy at my school as well, but it had to be an extra one. So you'd have to go for extra lessons during lunchtime to do a GCSE in astronomy. And I went to the lessons, but I did not have the time to do the actual GCSE.
Oh, no.
So I went to all of it just to learn about it because it was just so interesting. And
that's kind of crazy that they did that though. My school didn't do anything like.
I think my school did. I remember them.
What, astronomy?
Yeah.
We could
it was the same sort of scenario, an extra credit.
We couldn't even do photography at my school.
No, we couldn't. Mine was quite. It was a grammar school, and it was quite forward in many ways, but then also very backward in many ways. Like boys weren't allowed to do home economics.
Oh, really?
Because you're a boy, you're not supposed to know how to cook. You know?
I made a mean crumble at my school. Oh, yeah, I did.
Fair enough. Yeah, but did you want me to be impressed with that?
This is great.
I remember my interview when I first came to Manchester. I had a tutor called Ian. Now, he's a bit of a quirky character, really crazy, but good tutor at the end of the day. And I presented him with my work, which was just drawings of people, and we got into the part where he started to ask me questions about my work. I answered them then and there, and then he just stopped. He was quiet for a minute and went, "Okay, Chris, what's the best idea you never had?" In an interview situation, I froze up.
And you kissed him.
And I took down my pants.
And he just started clapping.
It seems we both had the same idea.
And that's how you get into fine art course at university.
He went, some boy earlier just brought me a crumble.
You seemed really pleased with it.
I didn't know what to say. So
Cooking's for girls.
I remember before we initially went to university, following and liking every group on Facebook about freshers.
Yeah.
And this is
assume
actually
just the Manchester one.
Yeah, just
just follow all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, and just pretend you go to each one. Meet you there.
And I don't actually remember what we first spoke about, but me and James spoke before we went to university.
Yeah, it was on the Briarfield Hall page.
Was it?
Big up, yeah. And I
remember
think
this.
we were both trying to. There's a group of us that were trying to find out when we found out what halls we got into, like which
we were living
room
together,
or whatever. Yeah. And then we kind of I happened to click on Chris's name to see what he looked like, whether he was a weird old man.
Yeah.
And unfortunately he wasn't.
Oh.
But he had like his cover photo on Facebook. All very important, guys. Have a good cover photo. Was of the Alt J album cover.
Yeah. Okay.
Which
I was
really
a hipster
liked
back then as well.
So
Before it was cool.
Yeah.
So I remembered that, and obviously I'm quite good with faces.
Yeah, you see, this is funny as well because I actually did the exact same thing to James, but he had IT Crowd as his cover photo,
Okay.
and I was like, this guy.
Yeah.
And then
He watches TV.
we think we'd put on what we were studying as well on the page, and me and Chris both turned up, both did fine art, and someone introduced us to each other, and I just went straight away. You like Alt J, don't you?
Yeah.
I love you. And then we just became friends ever since.
So you lived in halls in first year together? Then?
No, we lived in the same halls, but in like different blocks.
Yeah, different blocks. I met James, and so I went to the laundry room for the first time as an adult in the open world, and I had no idea how to work this thing.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell do I do? And this girl walks in, and I just turn to her and I go, "Excuse me, please, can you help me?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do." And she sits down, shows me what to do, puts it in, rather than, oh my god, that sounded wrong. rather than go back to our rooms and not and wait for the washing machine to finish and come back, we just sat and spoke the whole time. And I ended up she said like, oh, what are you doing? I said I'm doing fine art. She said, oh, my housemate's doing fine art, come and join us. And that's James.
Wow.
Yeah. And this girl we lived with for 2 years in uni.
And you also saved in her phone for ages as Chris Laundry.
And I believe I still am to this day.
I mean, that kind of brings us on to like how we met.
This girl that he met in the laundry room eventually became my girlfriend, now ex-girlfriend. This way you both go, I met these two, Chris and James, through her, and now we do a podcast together.
While we were in second year.
Yes.
I can't remember the first time we met though. Can you?
I can't.
I can't remember it either.
I can remember when you first meet someone's boyfriend, and you're friendly with them, and you think, oh, they're a good guy, and then. But you asked them to do
you guys just erased it from your memories the first time.
I was just like, why is she let an Asian in the house? We've been through this. We've got specific house rules.
She thought you meant Chinese. You weren't specific.
The Orientals are fine.
We had the same rule in my house. It made life very difficult for me and Pav.
I don't really have that many memories of you from the beginning of you dating Emily.
Yeah.
But one of my first proper memories is when me and Chris were in third year, and you came to our house and you stayed over, and the next morning I got woken up to somebody telling me that you'd been to the next door. Yeah. And shoved loads of chips through their letterbox.
Yeah.
But I can't remember exactly why. Why did what?
Because so your next door neighbours at that point were absolute twats.
Yeah.
So essentially, what they would do is they'd put their music on ridiculously loud at 2:00 in the morning, and then they would have it on until 8:00 in the morning. That's not on essentially because you guys all work pretty hard. You needed your sleep, and when you'd go over to tell them to stop doing it, they'd tell you to fuck off. And it really annoyed me. I remember one night I was lying next to Emily and we couldn't go to sleep because the music was just so fucking loud. From that point on, I was like, I need to get my revenge on these guys. So I was really fucked after a night out. And I went to the chippy or whatever. I got myself a burger and it came with chips. I remember walking home going, I'm not going to eat these chips. No, but this is how bad it was. It wasn't because I was intending to put it through their letterbox. I went, I can't have the carbs. It's too much carbs. So I come to your front door. Emily opens the door. And I go, wait here, 1 second, wait here, 1 second. And I run round the corner and she goes, Ricky, what the fuck are you doing? Ricky, well, she didn't say fuck. She's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I just go, wait. I just started shoving the chips through the letterbox and their window was open. So I just threw the container through the window. Nice. And then I started running. I fell over and they had just loads of shit in their garden. I got splinters all over my hand from falling over. I remember the next day I blamed Emily for it.
You know what? I really hope that they hear this. They listen to this podcast.
I hope they come to our where we record off the podcast and shove chips through it.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, I didn't really realise that you were that silly, I guess, until that point.
Yeah, and up till then, did I seem quite serious to you guys?
Yeah, I think so. And I just thought he was being just pissed.
Yeah.
Because I remember saying to you, would you? Did you feel bad about it?
Yeah.
And you were like, "No, I'd do it again." So that was what I kind of realised.
Yeah.
And then he did it again
for no reason. I went up to one of them and I started shoving chips down his mouth.
And now he's dead.
Yeah, didn't realise he was allergic to potatoes.
One of the biggest hyped things before you go to uni is Freshers Week.
Yeah, obviously.
There's such a buzz about it before you go. Everyone talks about it. It's this huge thing.
Yeah.
What was it like?
For me, I got there on the Sunday. I know some people had been there since the Friday. I don't know. I just came in with my parents. They left quite quickly because I think they wanted me to integrate with people. And I met essentially the weirdest guy I could have met straight away. I come up the staircase, there's this guy there, I'm not going to say his name, and he just had this orange in his mouth. I remember him just going it smells funny in here. And I was like, with my parents, and I was just like, yep. Yeah, it does. Okay. And my room was right next to the laundry room. That meant that people didn't realise my room was there. So they would just walk past it and not come and knock on my door to see if I was in or anything. But eventually people obviously caught on that I lived in there. But yeah, my Freshers Week was pretty standard. I did all the Freshers events that they have on, met new people. Surprisingly, didn't meet the people I really started to hang out with until 3 or 4 days into Freshers Week, though.
Oh, right.
But I guess you do that. You go through people and, you meet new people.
Yeah, we kind of, like in our flat, I guess I spent most of my time with my flatmates. I mean, on the first or second night, we had a house party. Flat party, where we kind of let our block, there was about 8 different flats, like all within the one block. And we let like everyone into our kitchen, which wasn't that big. But then we could only fit so many people in that we had to start refusing people. Oh. And that's quite a weird thing to do on your first like day at university. Yeah. So being like the biggest guy in the flat, because it was me, another lad, and 3 girls, they made me do it. And then from that point on, those people in the flat below hated me.
Because you wouldn't let them.
That's one way to make friends.
Because they'd always see me, and like they see me really pissed. Like, you wouldn't let us into your flat. Because it was full.
So those are those guys who still do that to you now.
Like in the hallway.
Me and Ricky always get invited.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't mind us. Yeah.
But yeah, so there wasn't really that. I didn't think it was that exciting. What about you, Chris?
Well, my Freshers Week was pretty great. I mean, I got bitten by an insect on my foot, so it's swollen up to the point where I couldn't put shoes on. Well, on one foot. Yeah. And I was on antibiotics, so I couldn't drink.
Wow.
I remember going to the Deaf Institute, which is a bar in Manchester, and just asking for Coke all night. Yeah. For some reason, just go. But I think one of the barmen, he must have misheard me. Yeah. And put vodka in it, and I just remember being fucked.
Oh, really?
Like, on one vodka Coke.
So, did you have one shoe on at this point as well?
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
I think so off the top of my head. Or am I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So you just looked mental.
You can't just had one shoe on.
Off your face with one shoe on.
Maybe I've squeezed in. I don't know.
I can't remember. I love the idea that someone somewhere has their Freshers Week stories. Yeah, saw this guy on the third day with one shoe on off his face at Deaf Institute.
No, but Freshers Week was great. Meeting all these new people who were in the same situation as you, and no one's friends at that point. And just getting to know people.
Were you guys afraid when you came to Manchester? No. Like to start university?
No, I was actually quite lucky because I had friends from home that moved up as well.
Okay, fair.
So we were all in different halls of residence, which kind of made it even better because then we could kind of go around to each other's flats. One of my friends lived in the more kind of party halls, Cambridge. Halls. Yeah. So he lived with 10 people. I only lived with 4 other people, so that was kind of a nice change. And then once I made friends with Chris within the same block, kind of you do meet loads of people really quickly, but then you also dismiss those people.
Yeah, well, so my brother gave me a great piece of advice. He said, don't become best friends with the first person you meet just because they're the first person you meet. Yeah. And he was so right. But so I was in a similar situation. My friend Peter, he had come from Leeds from school and moved to Manchester as well, and his residence was right next to mine. And we said to each other, let's not hang out during Freshers Week because we need to make our own friends, and then after that we can integrate our friends together. Maybe 3 or 4 days into Freshers Week, he was like, mate, I need to start hanging out with you and your friends. And I remember him, he would come over to mine all the fucking time. And my door had a lock on it, but I would come back to my room and he'd be asleep in my bed. And I just thought, how the fuck does he keep getting in here? I remember one time I came back with a girl, knocked on my door, he was in there. So I was like, and he wouldn't open the door. Because I knew he was in there, because I was trying to open it.
How did he get in?
No fucking idea.
Go in his own bed?
I've come up with the conclusion that he can turn himself into a puddle, slither underneath the door, and then...
I just imagine his flat and his dry friends are in his bed. That's why he comes to your bed.
But there was one night at the end of first year, and everyone else had gone home. So it was me, Peter, Andy, I think my mate Chan was there as well. And we did a thing called the Frosty Jack Challenge, which is, there's 3 litre bottle of Frosty Jacks. Yeah. You play Ring of Fire with that. Ring of Fire is a card game where you drink for certain cards that you pick up. So say you pick up a 2, you have to do 2 fingers of your drink, and you'll normally have a bottle of beer, so it's not very much alcohol. But with the Frosty Jacks challenge, that's a 3-litre bottle, so 2 fingers is a huge amount of volume to get down. My mate Andy finished all of his and threw up all over the floor. And it was one of those situations where Peter goes, "Are you going to throw up?" And he goes, No, I'm okay. And he goes, "Are you going to throw up?" And he goes, Yeah. So Peter puts this tub underneath Andy's face. Andy pushes it out of the way and throws up all over the floor. They all went over to this botanical gardens afterwards. And I was like, "Peter, I'm going to sleep, mate. I'm going to sleep in your bed." And I get in his bed and he goes, "Ricky, you can't fucking sleep in my bed." And I go, "You slept in my bed all the time." And he goes, "Yeah, fair enough."
So did you guys make friends of your flat quite easily? Did you spend a lot of time with them? Or was it people that kind of outside of...
So I was in halls.
Yeah.
So mine was quite different. But yeah, we actually, in fairness, our whole block, everyone got along really well. I hung out with basically almost everyone on my floor, and the girls on the floor above, really. But yeah, we all got along really well.
So yeah. See, I kind of got on with just my flat. But I remember when I got there, so it was me, another guy, and 3 girls. And I kind of got speaking to the girls straight away. And this other guy that was there, Scott, he was a little bit quieter. No one really kind of... The girls spoke to him briefly, but not much. And straight away they just went, "Oh, you and Scott, don't think you're going to get on."
Really?
Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, just don't think you're going to kind of vibe, you're not going to gel together." I literally walk into his room, which is next to mine. He's playing Xbox. I just go, "What are you playing?" He's like, "Halo." He's like, "Do you want to play?" Yeah. Best friends. Became best friends just from
That's so bizarre because my mate Pav, we always played Halo with him, and the first encounter I really had with him was us all playing Halo in his room. So yeah, Halo brings people together.
Play Halo.
Yeah. My story is a bit different to you guys. So I got on with the people in my flat. They're all really nice, but we're all different people. So I don't really want to stereotype and put people into boxes, but it just didn't work out. There's a drama girl. She was really cool. She was nice. Called Lucy. We got on well.
Sexy.
I'm gonna say obviously she's an attractive woman, but well, this is awkward.
Why are you answering?
I'm answering it with the full knowledge that she's going to listen to this and then be like,
she's going to be offended now.
I saw her as a friend, so
okay,
yeah.
Good answer.
That's very good.
Yeah, very good. It was a really tough girl who liked football. And then we had a
tough girl. She was a tough girl.
And then
I thought you said she was into street fights and stuff.
The quiet one that you never see.
Was that you?
Yeah.
So I was initially like, shit, are these going to be my friends for the whole year?
Yeah.
Which is when I started to sleep in James's bed.
But
so that's that.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of hung out quite quickly, and doing art as a subject, you do get to spend time with your course mates a lot more than you do in other kind of environments, especially as alcohol's a big part of uni, but it's quite a big part of art as well, going to openings and getting free booze. So it was kind of quite easy for us to make a lot of friends, I'd say.
Yeah, because I guess with other courses, you will only interact with people outside the lectures if you want to. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just in a lecture, maybe 12 hours a week, and during the lecture, it's not like you talk to each other.
Yeah, so that's it. Must be quite hard to kind of just talk to someone. To strike up a conversation must be so much harder than whereas with us, we can kind of, you'll see someone...
A lot of social encounters.
A lot of icebreakers, which is frustrating. But
I was really lucky, actually, because we have a thing called tutorials in planetary science. And that was when you'd have a small group of people with one lecturer. So I think it was 6 people. And I became best friends with 3 of the people in that straight away. But I think I made a joke on the first tutorial, and that was almost the first thing I said. And from that point on, my character was already planted, so people knew what I was
Can you
like.
remember the joke?
Yeah, what was
I
the
can't
joke?
remember. It was probably something hilarious knowing me.
Yeah, of
and
course.
they probably remember it. But, to me,
Yeah.
it was just one of those jokes I make,
Just
whereas to
another
them,
day for
it was
you.
the funniest thing
They wrote
heard.
it down in their diaries, like, just this guy said the funniest thing.
Well, no, they probably didn't say guy. They probably said, I met this really handsome Asian man. And
he likes
when I
rocks.
saw him, I just... Yeah, he likes rocks.
When in reality, you just walked on stage and went,
Stage.
I did planetary science.
You think of a planetarium, Chris?
I thought your life was a stage, Ricky.
It is.
Good, that's a good comeback. It's also a big part of university. It's Halloween for the start of university anyway, because it's so close to freshers
that's
and
true.
stuff. And everyone loves a good chance to dress up. So I remember we ended up, it kind of ties into another story actually, I'll probably tell it first. Around freshers, we went to this night, which is called like zoology. And the idea is that everyone dresses up as like animals. And so me and a couple of other friends, did you come to this, Chris?
No.
All right, so a few of our friends, we just decided to go out and buy like really shit animal masks and wear our normal clothes because we can't be bothered to dress up as shit. But Scott decided, he's quite a quiet guy, decided to go out and buy a whole chicken costume. Like a full on, like, it was incredible. So we turn up and hardly anyone's there at this night and no one is dressed up.
Yeah.
So me and like
It's
most...
Halloween.
No, this is just before.
Oh.
This is like another night of freshers. So we take our masks off, but Scott's just stood there in this big fucking chicken costume. But I swear to God, that guy, I've never seen so many women like run up and talk to him.
Yeah.
Because he was just looked different. He had this like chicken costume on. And they were all like hugging him, taking photos, putting the hat on. And then another time at Halloween, and we all ended up going out, and we were all dressed up this time. But Scott went to go get money, and we all went to like jump in a taxi, and we all forgot Scott, and he didn't know like where we were going.
Never leave a man behind.
No, but so then he was just this really sad chicken, was just stood on Oxford Road looking for all of us. And yeah, these people brought him over and just like, your friend has been really, we saw this sad chicken, I had to bring him to you.
Does this belong to you?
I remember first year Halloween dressing up as Edward Scissorhands, and I have never I've never put a lot of effort into a Halloween costume. And honestly, if you want to make friends on a night out, dress up as Edward Scissorhands. I remember walking down Oxford Road, and a girl just stopped and went, "Edward, I'd fuck you." And I got so into it. You know how he kind of holds his hands and he has his little scissors.
What did you put as your scissors on your hand?
So I made them out of cardboard.
Cardboard,
and I
yeah. I was
painted
going to say, you
them.
can't actually have
I
scissors.
bought rubber gloves, sellotape.
Yeah, I remember seeing
black hairspray, everything.
I remember seeing this. It was great. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't really top that though. That's the problem. Once you've done,
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's why I've never dressed up since.
See, that's why for me, I always just aim low. Disappointment. And then maybe one day if I do something, people are like, yeah, this is good.
What
now.
did you dress up as?
So I actually have a great story from my first. Well, for me, it's a great story. I dressed up as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle because I had a costume from it.
of your own.
No, I went out with my mate Lucy.
Yeah.
I used to be in a band with a girl called Lucy, and she was at university on the same course as me. It was the first time I'd ever been on a night out with her and her flat. So it's the first night I'd been over. I remember all I brought was a bottle of whiskey, and I came in and she'd invited her cousins over and her sister over, I think, as well, from Ireland.
Oh.
And they play, like, to me, good music. So they play Nirvana and stuff like that. I remember rocking out to Nirvana. And I could see her cousin looking at me. But I thought nothing of it. Because I had a girlfriend at the time when I came to uni. So I just thought nothing of it. And she was a good-looking girl. I remember we're out and we're all dancing in this club. And she's dancing with me. Still, me being oblivious, I'm just dancing with her. Yeah, oh, like, this is cool. It's nice, dancing with a female. And she leans in to kiss me. And it was literally like one of those moments where everyone stood around you. They're looking at you. And I just push her away and go, I've got a girlfriend. And I could just feel everyone in the room just go, oh. oh no.
Did the music stop as well?
It did, and she just walked off.
Oh.
It took it quite a while, then I guess.
I think the issue is I'm just so coquettish, you know, so flirtatious.
No, I had a similar incident, not with a girl that I knew just on a night out.
I thought you were just going to say not with a girl.
With Chris, constantly. No. No, I had a girlfriend at the time, and everyone I was out with was single, and we were kind of dancing around with these girls. And one of the girls tried to lean in, and I kind of had to lean away.
Yeah.
But she called me, she fucking had a massive go at me.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, "You're a fucking prick," and I was like, "Fuck," like,
Whoa.
I was just being
Did
nice.
you know you had a girlfriend?
Well, no, but we were just dancing. I wasn't trying it on or anything.
Yeah.
She
Still, even if you didn't have a girlfriend, that's a bit harsh for us.
Still, yeah. It's not necessary.
What did you say?
I can't remember. I think I just kind of walked away, just really sad.
That's how I normally feel when I try and get with someone. I normally walk away feeling sad as well.
I think I felt bad for her. I was just kind of like, maybe I did come on too strong. I came on strong.
There is this thing though on nights out where there's always an awkward feeling of everyone just wants to get with each other. Even though it's not true, you know.
Yeah.
If I go up to a girl in a club, it doesn't mean I want to bang her. So maybe I just want to talk to her.
But I bet she would think that.
That's my point. But you could go up to a guy and he obviously doesn't think this guy wants to bang me.
Oh,
Maybe.
wow.
Well,
I made friends, quite a long story, with one of mine, Chris's, quite close friends, by we were at a club, 42's, one of the best nightclubs in
42nd Street.
Manchester. And it's an indie club, so obviously playing indie bangers, The Killers, Kings of Leon. And I go to the bar, and I just happen to put my hand on the bar, and I've got a Leeds wristband on, festival. And this guy just taps me on the shoulder and just goes, "Oh, have you been to Leeds festivals?" Oh, yeah.
You have to say it in his voice, though.
I can't, he's Irish, I'm not doing it.
Oh.
so diddle diddle diddle. And you're like, yes.
This guy's weird. So we were just kind of talking about music. I've never done this since, and I've never done it before. But I just went, "Can I get your number?" Like this, I was like, "This."
So you said it to him?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, "This isn't gay." I was like, "I'm not hitting on you at all."
You said it. You said this isn't gay.
Yeah. I was like, "I'm not."
Does that make it gay?
Yeah,
It does, yeah.
only if the balls touch. I was like, "I'm not gay. I'm not hitting on you. It's just you're the only person that I've met, other than my friend Chris, that likes the same music that we do."
Fair.
So and then we ended up going to dot and fucking.
So it did become gay. Nice.
No, it's not.
No, I really like that. A story of just two guys in the club making friends.
Two good-looking guys.
That's what we call it.
On a serious note, that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And why is that so hard to do these days?
Yeah, that's it. Like if it'd been somebody else, you don't know the kind of reaction.
For example, if you were in Tiger and you went up to a guy and you started whispering in his
Your
ear.
first error there is being in Tiger.
Leave Tiger.
Exactly.
No, but it's because I think I could just. That was about to get so weird. I could just tell what kind of guy he was. But no, it never really happens. And I did feel really insecure about it. I was like, I need friends.
Yeah.
I was like, I need people that I can go to gigs with. And he kind of felt the same way.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. Did you guys ever go to other universities? So did you have friends at other universities and would you go and visit them?
Yeah, kind of. I don't think I really went while I was at university. I went before I went to university because I was a year or two older, 2 years older, because I did a foundation year and some other things. So I went to visit a friend at Leeds Uni and a friend at Bristol.
Okay.
Yeah, me, Newcastle and Oxford.
What were your experiences like? Newcastle's supposed to be incredible, isn't it?
Newcastle was a bit strange.
Oh, really?
Newcastle's normal. Oxford was strange.
Yeah, Oxford's strange.
So it was Balliol. I don't know. I didn't really connect with the people, obviously, because of my accent.
Yes,
and
I went because girlfriend I was with at the time in first year, she went to Oxford University.
Oh yeah,
and she was in Somerville College. I remember going there, and all her friends were really nice to me. I guess because they're friends with her, so they're going to be nice to me. And I guess she'd big me up or something. And I got there, told them what I did, geology, planetary science. They're all like, "That's incredible." And we went out to this party, and I remember talking to people there, and they go, "Oh, so what do you do?" And I go, "Oh, I do geology and planetary science." And they go, "Oh, what college are you in? That sounds incredible. Which college?" And I go, "Oh no, I go to Manchester University." And they literally, one guy went, "Oh, okay," and then turned around.
What?
Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
Honestly, fuck that guy. I wouldn't even want to speak
Yeah,
to them. Yeah.
it ruined my experience of going to Oxford.
Shit.
Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed seeing her, but I just didn't enjoy being in Oxford because it was such a bubble from the outside world.
That's such a weird, like, classist thing. I guess that's kind of what you assume of Oxford, though. I guess as well. So, did you like the place? Did you like Oxford?
So the city's incredible. Yeah, I remember. So two of my other friends, Nick and Greg, they went to Oxford. Greg is still there actually. He's doing a PhD in robot stuff. Something to do with robots. I pay a lot of attention.
Robot Wars.
Clearly, Robot Wars. That's it. Yeah. He's the new presenter of Robot Wars.
It's a great degree to get into.
And we went to a party my ex had invited us to, and we were there. And they didn't really change when they went to Oxford. They stayed as the same people they were when I knew them at school. Like, they loved it, but their friends were just normal people. They weren't these Toffingsons who'd tell you to fuck off if you went to a different university.
Yeah.
And we were stood at this party. And whenever people walked past us, we would try and say something really weird so they could overhear what we were saying. I remember I said, "Wait, Greg, you wouldn't fuck a goat? Man, you're frigid."
How did they react?
You could just see them walking past like, that's very strange.
It's like, oh, that fucking guy from Manchester.
So, yeah. What's he like?
A big thing at university, obviously, is going out and getting really pissed. I've got a friend who happened to do something really weird when she was drunk. She used to, not that word, she used to come home and she liked eating Nutella, like after a night out. But one night she got so pissed that she just happened to be like eating it in her bed, forgot, woke up in the morning and just had like Nutella like all over her wall, but thought she'd shit herself. So because it was like in her bed, like on the walls, so she had to like lick it or like smell it and then taste it. But she
Why
was
would
like,
you not smell it? Why would you lick
She
it?
smelled it and then apparently just kind of like got up and licked it. Realised it was Nutella, but she was quite small.
And then she carried on licking the walls.
Yeah, and then realised it was shit. No.
Yeah.
And then she was quite small, so every time after that she went out, she had to put the Nutella on the top shelf.
She couldn't get it. That's funny.
In her defence, though, we all do stupid things when we're drunk. Or things that we don't remember in the morning.
Okay, I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
you-
true. Obviously,
So, my story is on my
Yeah.
21st birthday.
yeah.
You go out with your friends, you have a good time. We went to
Oh, I
Stevie
know
Wonderland, we're all dancing, people are buying you drinks, you're getting drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I had a great night. And then I just remember waking up in the morning with a message saying, "Who's been sick on the sofa?" And I was like, I don't know who's been sick on the sofa. Well, we worked out that it must have been me, but I was so drunk I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And
And you just left it there.
I don't know. I don't remember doing it.
This is while we lived together. So everyone had kind of gone round. I think we'd all come downstairs while Chris was still in bed, the rest of our housemates. And we went, who the fuck's been? Someone's been sick.
Yeah.
And I think one of the housemates said it must have been Chris because she could hear him vomiting.
Oh, God.
You could tell it was him.
I'm sorry.
But we were like, where is he? Like, where is he? And we basically decided to try and like clean it up the best way we could. So we ended up taking it off, putting it in the washing machine, broke the washing machine. Got a new one though, which is good. Yeah. And then the girls took it up to their bathroom in the bath and like soaked it. But it was like a black fro, so I ended up leaving like a big black stain in the bath. But before that happened, Chris happened to decide he was going to try and scrub it off with a scourer.
Okay.
And obviously you scoured it off and then you throw the scourer away. No, Chris didn't do that.
You don't do that.
Chris put the scourer back into the sink.
It's about efficiency.
Oh my God.
And I'm on my way to work, really rushing, needing to eat. So I put a pizza in the oven and I'm now washing my plate, washing my knife, and Chris just walks in and I've cut my pizza and I'm about to eat it and he goes, wait. You haven't just used that scourer, have you? Like, the one that was in the sink. Yeah, you haven't, have you? Yeah, why, Chris? Because I used that to clean up the sick.
Well, I'm sorry, James, but we're not all made of scourers.
Everyone's got scourer money.
We literally call you Chris the Scourer Curry. That is your name.
I did feel really bad. James, you did get a little bit reasonably angry.
Yeah.
I stormed out the room.
I made it
the
up,
door.
though. I bought him a really nice pizza.
You should have bought him a scarf.
We hope.
Serves you right, you dig it. Yeah, but I always keep my own scarves now, just in case.
On that subject of throwing up,
Okay.
I personally was pretty great at uni. I very rarely threw up, which maybe was a bad thing, but I guess it was my body saying I don't need to.
Yeah.
You know, my mate who I lived with, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, it was Peter, my mate Peter, who's the doctor of the group. Remember, he's a medical doctor now.
Yeah.
He finished his exams, and he finished way before any of us finished our exams, and he was sat in the living room playing Mario Kart, drinking vodka, and he finished a whole bottle of vodka, right?
What?
And this is by the time I got back from university. I remember he was going to meet his friends, and there used to be a thing in Fallowfield called the Tower Challenge. There was a tower, a block of flats that had something like 20 floors on it.
Yeah, I've heard of
And
that.
what you would do is you'd come into the bottom floor, you'd take a shot of vodka, and then every floor, you'd take the elevator to the top, and then on every floor on the way down, you'd do another shot. And you were supposed to do it as quickly as you could. Peter, this time, he says, I'm going to go meet my friends to do the Tower Challenge after having a bottle of vodka already. He tries to get there. My mate Pav tries to take him there, finds that he's lost, even though it's 2-minute walk from our house. Pav takes him home, puts him in bed, and Peter goes, I need to throw up. So Pav puts his face literally in the toilet. Next thing I know, I come into the living room, Peter's thrown up all over the floor, and he's back in bed. And I'm like, how the fuck has he thrown up all over the floor and then just gone back to bed again?
That's amazing.
Did he remember doing it?
No, but he knew it was him because the rest of us had exams, so we obviously weren't getting fucked.
I had quite bad one where I was sick. I was kind of saying I'm rarely sick because
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's you're losing if you're sick
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this was like
This isn't true, by the way.
no.
If you need to be sick,
Be
let your
sick,
body
yeah.
be sick.
This was third year, so I probably should have been doing a lot of work, but I wasn't. Ended up going to a club night called Merkage, which I'm not going to lie, I never completely enjoyed. But
Okay.
we just got really pissed with our friends. Ended up in like the DJ booth, and then it was just a bit of an odd night. I decided I need to go home because I was too pissed. I got myself in an Uber, and I barely remember this. All I remember is it going down like a really long road in Manchester, and me just going, stop! Opening the door and just kind of diving out and just being
God.
sick all over myself. While the taxi driver, obviously being an Uber,
Yeah.
looked at me
Yeah.
like, kind of just thought I was the saddest person he's probably met that whole night, and just drove off.
Oh, really? Without
Yeah.
you? Fuck.
And he was just like, fuck. Like, he got his fade, didn't care. So then, luckily, like, I was sick, but then I had this moment of clarity where I was just like, I need to get home.
Yeah.
So I just had to find a black cab, got out of that, and then like just didn't recognise anywhere that I was. Just turned around and went, that's my house. I managed to get home.
Wow.
And I was
That's-
so lucky.
That's really lucky, yeah. See, I've only ever been that bad once, and it was in my first year of university. And we're on a night out, literally can't remember the night out, can't remember coming home, woke up the next day, say hey to my friends, and they're all like, how the fuck did you guys get back last night? Because me and my mate Pav have no idea how we got back, and it turned out 2 guys in the club realised we were really fucked, and they took us all the way back to our halls.
Oh, shit.
Such nice guys. They got our numbers to text us the next day to see we were okay. Didn't take any of our money, any of our stuff from our wallets, anything like that. They literally took us a taxi home,
Wow, that's so lucky.
got us back into
Yeah.
our flats and everything. So lovely
Nice
guys.
guys.
Just so lucky, yeah, that we met nice people that night. But I went back into my room and something really smelled, and it smelled like piss.
Oh.
And I checked my bed, and it wasn't my bed. And I checked like around the floor, everything was fine. And I came to my cupboard, and there was a pool of piss in the bottom of my cupboard. So I must have got up in the middle of the night and pissed in my
Are
cupboard.
you sure it wasn't one of those guys?
But you know what's the weirdest thing, Chris? There was a sink in my bedroom. So why didn't I get up in the night and piss in my sink?
Pissed in the cupboard.
In the cupboard?
There's a weird thing about that. Like people pissing. My uncle's pissed in like my nan's cupboard before. Just-
I don't know what that means.
That was just malicious. Then.
What does it mean? I pissed in his cupboard.
But me and my people in halls that I was with, the guys who I went on to become best friends with and live with for the rest of uni, we were the weird guys in halls, but in the endearing type way. Well, we like to think it was endearing.
Okay.
And we came up with a musical that was songs about all the weird stuff that our group had done in first year.
Okay.
And my song was called Pissing in the Cupboard. There's another boy whose song was called Sodomy because he lost his virginity by anal sex.
Incredible.
Yeah.
What?
So, just quick question.
Yeah.
Were these original compositions, or were they based on like famous songs?
No, completely original.
Because
As in, it was completely
like
written from the
Pissing in
beginning.
the Closet should be like Cleaning Out the Closet by Eminem.
No, I can sing it to you guys now if you want.
Please do.
It went, I've been pissing in this cupboard for a long time because things ain't feeling right. I've been pissing in this cupboard for a long time because things ain't feeling right. I tried it in the toilet, I tried it in the sink, I tried it in my desk drawer, and here is what I think. I'm going to be pissing in this cupboard for a long time because things ain't feeling right.
Wow, that is great.
That is incredible.
I remember it.
That was great.
I see why you do music now.
So, like, talking of cupboards and things.
What a segue.
Yeah. Speaking of cupboards, it's not even related to cupboards. I'm just gonna.
If you guys weren't interested yet, now you're gonna be.
This isn't even related to cupboards. Don't know why I said that. But I spoke about Scott earlier, who I wasn't meant to be friends with, but we're great friends.
Turned out to become best friends.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sure he won't mind me saying, a massive stoner. He was when we were at university. And we ended up going. He kind of wanted to smoke in his room, but never like had the balls to do it. So I said, why don't you just do it in your bathroom?
Yeah.
As we start smoking weed in his bathroom, and one evening, we'd be watching TV together. He went into the bathroom and managed to pull the handle off the door.
Wow.
And he said to me, I've pulled the handle off the bathroom door, and he put it on his bedside table.
Yeah.
And so I walk out the room to go to bed and go, don't forget the handle for your door, right? He's like, yeah, of course I won't. Yeah. I go to like my room, I'm watching TV, and about 40 minutes later, I just get this text that says, I've just got out of my bathroom. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I went into the bathroom and forgot the handle. I locked myself in the bathroom. But he was like, he had to use a debit card and like a toothbrush to like chip his way through the door.
Especially if you're getting stoned, you're gonna be even less logical about what you're trying to do.
But he was like, "There's only one." He started to just panic, obviously being paranoid as well. And was like, "I need to get out of this room." He was tempted to try and like ring me so that I could get security over to let him in, but then realised that if they walked in his room, they'd see like a baggie of weed on his thing. So he just panicked, and he in his head he just went survival mode and just started chipping through the door. I managed to get out.
Wow, fair play to him. I managed to get out.
Well done.
Yeah.
Let's go on, stoners.
So obviously a lot of people say that a big part of university is drinking. I've had a friend that went a little bit too overboard with it. And we went to a house party and he happened to drink, I want to say like quite a big bottle of vodka beforehand. He's quite a small, like skinny guy. And we got to this house party and we all thought like he was just being really funny and just a little bit pissed. And there's a show called Phone Shop. I don't know if either of you have seen it. And we've been watching a lot of it. And my friend, there's a bit where the two guys ask women if they appreciate the works of Jude Law as a chat-up line. So my friend's walking around talking to girls, saying this line to them. But he's getting more and more pissed. So it starts off as, do you appreciate the works of Jude Law? And becomes, dear man, which found it hilarious.
They probably thought he was trying to convert them.
We're pissing ourselves laughing. Girls are just kind of looking at him really strange. And then we turn around and he's just on the floor. And we kind of like, he's just had a bit too much, it's fine. So we start trying to like wake him up, prop him up, he falls back down again. So now we get a little bit worried. And so we have this house party, we're in the garden, is quite big. There's loads of people there, like hundreds of people in the garden, and we have to lift him up like Jesus and carry him out. Wow. Carry him through this house party. So a lot of people saw this happen. So we get him into the street. He's obviously passed out because he drank quite a lot. I'm quite pissed at this point because it's quite late into the house party, and our other friend has just come up on MD and she's ridiculously high. So we've called the paramedics. And I could just hear my friend speaking to our passed out friend going, just open your eyes. Let me see your beautiful eyes just one last time. Let me see your beautiful eyes.
One last time.
Come on, you can do it. And then I'm on the phone to the paramedic, like, oh, can you just feel a pulse for us? Yeah. And I'm just there, like, I can't feel my own hands. Like, I'm so pissed. I'm so
put your finger in his mouth.
Make him do something. And then the paramedics show up. And one of the guys, you know, you have the kind of undercover ones, just as a car.
Oh yeah, those undercover paramedics that they have.
Hiding in plain sight, just always around, just in case.
Because they don't want them to know there's paramedics there. Yeah,
just in case of emergency. Always on duty. So anyway, this guy's sitting there, obviously seeing a lot of drunken students, and he's just really... and like just taking his time, putting on his gloves. My other friends there started to panic. Anyway, we get my friend into the ambulance, and because I know him really well, I was like, I'll go with him in the ambulance. So we're sat there, they're doing all the things to him, and suddenly they put on the sirens in the ambulance.
Oh Jesus!
And I've never like been in that experience because I was so pissed.
Oh, yeah, especially if you're pissed. Yeah,
I was kind of enjoying it because I was like, oh, they put on the sirens. It's like, don't show any emotion. I was like, don't show that you're happy. Don't show that you're happy. Because I knew you'd be fine. And we get him to the A&E. They take him through. He's passed out. Put him on a drip, and he's fine. He starts to come to.
Yeah.
And he had a Crystal Castles t-shirt on, and they've had to like cut through it to kind of like make sure he's okay. And they wake him up, and the doctor just says to him, "Oh, wake up, wake up." And my friend starts to kind of come to, and he's like, you're at this party, and this really attractive, like Kelly Brook looking girl came up to you, and you were sick all over her. Which is a complete joke.
Wait, the doctor said that?
Yeah. Well, like the nurse on shift. It's a complete joke, just to get a reaction out of it. And my friend just goes, and he goes, in all seriousness though, we have had to cut off your top. Yeah. And he goes,
So obviously university isn't all just good times and alcohol. There's actually some work involved. And
just some.
After I finished my master's and before I started my PhD, I went to America for a conference. In the airport, I got stopped and asked why I was going to America. And in my trade, there is a lot of software we use. Okay. And unfortunately, the name of one of the pieces of software I use was called ISIS. They obviously created this software years and years before ISIS became a thing in terms of the radicalist movement. So I get stopped by this American guy, and he goes, so why are you coming to America? Okay, I've got a choice now. I can hand him the piece of paper that says I'm going because of ISIS. Or I can just lie. But then if he takes me aside, I've then got to show him this piece of paper, and I've also lied to him. So I took Chris's word of advice and just kissed him.
How did it go?
Yeah, it went fine. Yeah. I was in prison for 14 years in Guantanamo Bay, and then after that, that's when we started the podcast, when I got back.
Some holiday. So what did you say?
I just said I'm off to a conference, and he said, in what? And I went, I do planetary science. And then he was like, okay, I don't know what that means. And I spoke, for some reason, rather than just speaking my normal voice, which is pretty posh anyway, I went, I'm off to a conference in America to study planetary science. And he was like, okay, right.
This guy's crazy.
Yeah, he's a schizophrenic man. He'll fit just in America. My old housemate Ewan used to do DJing under the name Casio Co. And they often DJ'd at this place called Antwerp Mansion, which isn't a dive. It kind of is a dive, but it's cool because of it. One night we went there, and they would have hype men. You'd have your general hype men guy who'd come on and go, yo, Manchester, having a good time. And everyone would go, yeah, woo, woo, because they're all fucked off their tits and they don't care what you're saying. Yeah. They're just going to woo whatever you say. We started doing this hype manning. So we start off normal. It'd be like, yo, Manchester, big up, Casio Co. And then we started going into really strange ones. Yo, Manchester, remember to boil the water before you put the pasta in. But my favourite one we did was, yo, Manchester, remember to recycle. Don't be a waste man.
And now we move over to our frequently asked questions. The first question comes in from Jim Tucker, and he asks, what's a piece of advice that you would give me before I go to university?
Oh, good question, Jim. I assume you're 18, moving on to university then.
Could be older.
Could be older. Yeah, sorry,
It's
it
not
could be
should.
older. Greg, my friend Greg, was 17 when he went to uni, so that was shit for him.
Fuck.
But a piece of advice, as you can tell through the whole podcast today, we've basically been talking about the stupid stuff that happened at university. And that's a big part of it. You know, learn about yourself and do silly things within reason, obviously. Mm-hmm. Make friends, because you're probably not going to stay in friends with your friends from school, but you hopefully will from the ones from university. And for instance, if I met Chris and James, I don't know where I'd be right now. So, I mean, geographically, I don't know where I'd be. But also remember, university is probably the only time where you'll have a lot of free time to do whatever you want to do. So don't waste it. Don't be one of those stoners who just sits around doing nothing. And also don't be one of those people who just works all the time. Get them
Good balance.
Yeah, get the good balance. You know, it's a great time to go do stupid stuff and the stuff that you're never going to get to do again. You know?
Yeah, it's really good advice. I mean, my advice would be, Jim, if you're ever walking home from a nightclub, you're really pissed, and you don't want to get a bus or a taxi, you think, I'm just going to walk home, even if you live about 40 minutes away, and you're walking down Oxford High Street, and a guy walks towards you and goes, "Oi mate, you want to smoke some weed?" And then you go, "No," and then he goes, "You fucking calling me racist? You fucking racist?" And I go, No, sorry mate, I'm not being racist. And then and he goes, "Oh no, it's all right mate, it's all right," and then comes up to you and gives you a hug. So you go, "Fuck, I don't want to get stabbed, so I'm just going to hug this guy." Hug him, and then he gives you a really weird hug. He like really pats you back, and then you go, "Fuck!" You start to walk off, and you realise, "Shit, I don't have my phone." So then you stop, run back to this guy, and you go, "You got my phone?" And he goes, "No, you fucking racist! You call me fucking racist." And at that point, you panic, and then you get just some random people to surround him, and then you're like, "Fuck, what do I do?" And then he tells me to search him, can't find anything. And then I go, "Someone ring my phone, it's on loud." And he handed me my phone and then pushed me away and ran off.
That's a really specific hypothetical.
Yeah, that's very, very specific piece of advice.
My piece of advice is don't hug strangers.
That's great.
And do be racist.
Yeah.
If you're going to get mugged, you might as well be racist. So did the Chinese guy give you your phone back?
Yeah.
So I guess my advice is...
"Oh, mate, you want to..." No, we're not even going to do that. We're not going there.
I guess my advice is always boil the water before you put your pasta in.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's
There you
good.
go.
I really hope this helps you, Jim, on your adventure. And this is the final frequently asked question from the series. Ooh, sad times. So this one comes in from Rachel Cereal Bowl, and she asks, "Don't laugh."
I'm laughing at something else.
Okay, yeah.
It's nothing to do with your name,
Rachel.
Cereal.
Yeah.
Mrs. Cereal Bowl?
My surname's Curry.
Maybe miss.
Rachel asks,
We actually just laughed at your name.
I do it all the time. Curry.
and this question comes in from Chris Curry. Rachel asks, "Was it all worth it? Was university worth it?"
Well, for me, in a literal sense, yes, because I'm doing a PhD now. I needed to go to university in order to do a PhD. So in that sense, yes.
Yeah. Well, for me as well, absolutely yes. I studied fine art, and there's a lot of stigma around fine art as a degree and what you're going to do when you graduate, because people just think, "What, you're just going to sit around painting
People
all day?"
assume you can't do anything with it.
And aware of that myself, I intentionally decided not to fall into that category.
Yeah.
So I apply my fine art degree to what I do as a social media executive. every day in just generally creating the whole process of building something from scratch, and I don't regret it one bit.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I touched on the same thing as Chris with like doing a fine art degree. It can be difficult when you graduate. Slightly different for me, like I work in a bar currently, but don't let that stop you. Like, I guess if I actually, going back to the other question, had some advice, it would just be to, if you go to university, graduate, you don't know what you want to do, you'll find something that you want to do. Just use all the experience you've had. Something that's great about fine art as well is networking. That's one of the most important tools you can ever have. And I do that constantly, day-to-day life. Even just like now talking to these guys, podcasting, we're creating a network. At work, I talk to people all the time and get jobs that way. So I think just, if you're lost, which you can be after you graduate, a lot of people are, you'll find something eventually.
Yeah. I mean, not to go too detailed into the question, but that's the point. I could have learned all the skills I learned from university by myself at home eventually, but I wouldn't have met any of the people I needed in order to further my career, or just all these amazing people that I met at university and all my friends. And I couldn't imagine where my life would be now if I hadn't have gone to university.
Yeah, sometimes it's about moving away as well. Like, a lot of people get trapped at home.
Yes.
It's nice to have somewhere else to go, and like we've all stayed.
The independence you
the
get
independence
from doing
is
it.
great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
You
I
don't just grow in your knowledge, you grow as a person. Not to sound cliche, but you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I physically grew because I went to the gym.
And I mean, granted, I still don't know how to use a washing machine, but
Or make pasta, but it's okay.
And he
It's a
still,
learning curve.
still throws up on the scourers.
But that was just to spite me.
Yeah, it cuts out the middle.
no,
man.
Ricky, I still use the same scourer.
I was just sick of my pizza now as soon as I get out of the oven. I thought I'd learned, but no, I still live with them.
And that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening. This has been the final episode in the season, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
It's been incredible recording these for you guys. Yeah,
It's been a pleasure.
It's been absolutely amazing. Make sure you head over to YouTube and check out the podcasts that you might have missed, and make sure you subscribe and stay up to date.
Yeah, there's plenty of content over there to tide you over till season 2. Please do comment, guys, because we read it all, and the feedback could be good for us so we can work it into the next season as well. And it means when we do bearded reviews, we know what you want to hear about. Also, send in your frequently asked questions, because you know we do answer some of those in the podcast if you're lucky.
Only if you've got a good name, though.
Yeah. And please also hit us up on Facebook. There's a lot of exclusive content that goes onto there. And there's also new pictures of what we look like. I'm planning of getting, like Michael Jackson did, into a white man. Chris is going to turn into the new brown guy on the podcast. We just like to mix things up in between podcasts, that's all.
Yeah, guys, make sure you head over to Twitter, hit us up on there. Send us some love, message us. We'll make sure we reply.
Yeah, we've got a lot of demented thoughts that go on over there.
I mean, you might not want to read them, but you will. You will.
And if you're not too jaded by this point...
You're still here.
Yeah, you're still here. We have the final Wikipedia fact for you guys. The final one of the season.
We know you've been waiting for this moment.
And don't worry, I think we mentioned it before, but they have decided to sponsor it again for the next season.
Woo!
So that's definitely
Yeah,
happening,
yeah.
everyone. Don't worry, it's definitely happening. Here's the final fact for the season. 72% of interracial pornography is made at Durham University.
Wow. Just
I
the
didn't-
things we've learned from making this podcast.
You just think you know the world, and then
And then Wikipedia
comes out of
comes
nowhere.
out with something like
amazing.
Durham
Yeah.
Uni just comes and kicks you in the balls.
that. I should also say, please do follow Wikipedia on Twitter. I'm right there, guys. That's
Yeah,
what
they've got their own following. Like, make sure you
yeah.
check all their pages out.
Yeah, but they asked us to say that, so yeah, do that.
You've got to
please.
make that money. You know what it is, guys.
And finally, once again, thank you so much. It's goodbye from me, Ricky.
It's goodbye from me, James.
And goodbye from me, Chris.
Adios.
Mother.